Hello, my name is Semblance. Today we will be starting a new series called Averses, in which I will pin two or more characters from the Averse Lemony Snicket series together or pin them against each other and see which one is better in my opinion. I have a small list to help me keep track of everything. There will be 5 points, and whoever has the most wins. Okay, let's begin. Point number 1 is their team. Hangfire has not many real associates for the whole series. He mostly blackmails people, so I won't really count them as his associates. So that leaves him with Norse Dander, Dr. Flammarion, and Stuart Mitchum. It isn't too impressive. I mean, anything with Stuart Mitchum is bound to give you negative points, if anything. But I digress. Moving on to Count Olaf. He has his theater troupe, which I won't bother mentioning them all by name, because if you think about it, only one of them actually has a name, Joy. And then he later has Esme Squall and Carmelita Spatz join his team. This doesn't entirely count, but it's still worth mentioning. The man with a beard but no hair and the woman with hair but no beard also are on his side, as well as just everyone on the fire starting side of VFD. So I have to give this point to Olaf. Point number 2. This one is a little tricky because both characters wear disguises for the majority of the series. And when it comes to actual descriptions of them, it's a little lackluster. So I'll be going for the illustrations and I suppose just the fan design, in the media design in general of these characters. Count Olaf, when it comes down to it, is a crusty old man. That's pretty much it. With a unibrow. And ill-fitting pants. Just get some other pants. It's not that hard. Hangfire, on the other hand, I very much like his trench coat and the mask that several characters have worn. It adds a sense of familiarity, and Lemony himself in the first book, this one to be exact, says how it gives an eerie feeling with the no mouth, and I agree with him. So I will have to give this point to Hangfire. Point number 3. Motive. Count Olaf, for the most of the series, he just wants the Baudelaire fortune, and he wants the Baudelaires to suffer. We don't really get much of a good motive from this man. It is revealed that VFD was involved in the assassination of his parent or parents, and I think if Mr. Handler leaned more on that side, I would have more to say about this man's motives, but otherwise, he's just a product of his time in which villains were evil for the sake of it. Hangfire, although his motives are a little iffy at times, such as whether or not he was trying to stop Cleo Knight's research. He wants to use the Abominating Beast to wreak havoc on civilization after Stained by the Sea flooded his town. And while on this path for revenge, we see more in depth of his emotions, such as when he murders the colonel in the second book. It wasn't necessary, and he didn't need to kill him, but he did, because I think it was more of a personal vendetta. And for all of this, I will have to hand it over to Hangfire. Oh, things aren't looking good for Olaf. Does he have a chance? Point number 4. Impact on the series. I'm just going to come out and say this one goes to Olaf. Hangfire, he is very lackluster. He barely appears in the first book, doesn't even accomplish to murder someone he wanted to. He doesn't do much in the second book. He's in disguise and kind of just runs away. In the third book, he isn't around for most of it, has another lackey to do his work, and yeah, he kind of just stands around. And in the fourth book, Stuart kills Dashiell Cordy, and it's just, Hangfire does not do much. He lurks in the shadows, but that's, if he did more serious crimes, I could forgive his lurking, but he kind of just seems like the figurehead of the inhumane society. So, Olaf, on the other hand, he has murdered countless guardians. He hit Klaus across the face, mentally and physically hurting him. He abused the Baudelaires so much. And although he does kind of falter later in the series, the Grim Grotto, he is still always a big threat. And he certainly is much more intimidating than Hangfire, which is strange considering Hangfire has much more intimidating design and intimidating behavior, that formal kind of sinister feeling. Olaf doesn't have that. Ironically, the sinister duo, though. So, I will have to award this point to Olaf. Now we are tied. Which of these two will come out on top? Point number 5, the last one. Intelligence. Starting with Olaf. Although media has shown Olaf as a bumbling fool, he, in the books, is very intelligent. He thought ahead of Klaus's plan in the bad beginning and had countermeasures for it. He tricked the Baudelaires in the Carnivore's carnival, and they almost tumbled to their death. And here's the thing. Olaf really should have won. If it wasn't for the Baudelaires being lucky, he would have won. Because look at the reptile room, in which he's driving the Baudelaires away to the boat to get to Peru. And if it wasn't for Mr. Poe crashing to his car, the Baudelaires would have lost. So it's more of the series working against Olaf is the reason he failed. While Hangfire, as we know, he's a master manipulator, but he's also idiotic. If he played it right, he could have won in the first book by having Ellington know what's happening. But no, he didn't tell her anything. He had her wrapped around his finger still, but kept her in the shadows, just like he kept himself in the shadows. And he lost because of it. The main difference between these two is that they're both intelligent, but in this book, you can see where Hangfire failed because of his own idiotic nonsense, while in Count Olaf's case, he's losing because he's the villain. So, I will have to award this point to Olaf. Congratulations. I would give you a round of applause, but I don't really want to, because you're still both awful, awful men. I hope you have enjoyed this video, and comment down below who you would like to see in the next Averses. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you have a very pleasant day. Rest pleasantly. By the way, did you know that this is the second take of the video I had to do? Because I filmed it yesterday, but sadly, I used natural lighting and the sun was wavering. So this is my second time filming. Joy. Anyways, perhaps I'll also post that. Maybe, maybe not. We'll see. It's not worth it. I'll just use this one. Anyways, rest pleasantly.